It's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. This is your host, Beck Lover, and you're watching another episode of the Interesting Times podcast, where I gather all the stories from around the world. I keep you in the know, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's a lot going on, so let's get down to it, my friends. It's Friday, the 13th, 2024, and Armageddon is on the horizon. I hope not. But in any event, episode just dropped today. I was for my third appearance on one of the largest podcasts in the world, the Danny Jones podcast, where I had a very explosive and interesting conversation with Danny Jones about the double standards, the hypocrisy, and a way to build bridges between the Christian and Muslim community. I hope you'll check the episode out and drop a comment and let me know what you guys thought about it. I kind of get into some of the shit that's going on in the world and what could be coming for all of us. And my message of unity so we can defeat the people that are doing what they're doing in this world. In any event, check out that episode on the Danny Jones podcast. You know, I've been wondering where Bill Gates has been, from his missions to create cures that he makes through his companies, to push on the third world, to laughing in our faces about the next time the world gets shut down and, oh, we're really going to get it this time. I was like, he's been quiet for a while. Like, where's Billy? Where's Bill Gates? I'll tell you where the hell he is. He's making money and investing in robots that are going to take over New York City. My first story today. Robots are taking over New York City. This is reported by the New York Post. New York City is becoming a boom town for the robot business as companies are developing and using them to provide messages, install roof shingles, automate medical testing, and much more. New York benefits from being a global city. We have access to global capital, customers in other cities, said Jacob Hennessy, who runs the New York Robotics Network, a non-for-profit that aims to make the city a hub for robot innovation. We're seeing a lot of companies relocate to New York. That's odd because I haven't seen them. I see a lot of migrants relocating here from literally all over the world, flooding the streets, the parks. Hotel rooms are $600-$700 a night. I promise it's not because of business. It's because migrants are being housed in them, and New Yorkers are footing the bill. $5 billion last year. The firm, whose name is a nod to the open source technology and AI it uses to program the electronics, was founded in Brooklyn in 2014. A decade later, OpenTrons has notched a $1.8 billion valuation and attracted investors including Bill Gates and billionaire tech founder and venture capitalist Vinod Khosla. The company eliminates the manual labor like pipetting, I've never seen that word before, involved in conducting experiments and testing lab samples so scientists are freed up for more high-level work. The price of the robot starts at $10,000. With the advent of AI tools like ChatGPT, researchers can use OpenTron's AI software to write prompts for robots in plain language, like requesting to run a test if someone is, infected with something, and the machine handles the rest. Bill Gates invested in OpenTrons and even helped connect the company to rural African villages that needed the devices. OpenTrons showed how useful that technology is during the shutdowns, when the city asked for help conducting millions of tests on people to see if they were sick. In July 2020, OpenTrons started PRL, using 40 OpenTrons to help New York City. I'm avoiding certain words, folks. Unfortunately, the algorithm is not too kind to me when I use some of these words, so I'm avoiding them. If you're wondering why I sound like an idiot sometimes. The bottom line is $10,000 robots are going to be able to do a lot of jobs that they pay us to do, making most of us obsolete. Could you imagine roofing and all these different jobs just overnight no longer need humans to do it? I guess we'll need to be on a universal income because most of you won't figure out how to be recreative because most of you ain't creative to begin with. I guess they're coming for your jobs. The The robots are. But Billy's going to make sure. Billy Gates, he's going to make sure. For those of you that have jobs and are working like dogs while you've lost 25% of your purchasing power, you sat there working for years to save up money, maybe $1 million in your retirement account that has lost 25% of its value in the last few years because of inflation. Your purchasing power is down 25%. That means if you had $1 million, you've already lost $250,000 in value. Even though you still have $1 million, it only buys $750,000 worth of goods and products. How's that working out for you? Are you happy? You're working real hard. Well, maybe if Trump gets in office, he says that he's not going to tax you on overtime because you're probably going to have to work a lot of overtime to make up for the 25% you've lost in inflation. I mean, the way they're printing money and funding all these wars, we're probably going to lose half to maybe 70% of our currency's value in the next 5 to 10 years. With the deficit that we're running and the government is facing another shutdown because they don't even have enough money to operate the thievery that they do. But no problem. At least when you work overtime, Trump says he's not going to tax you on that. Who wants to work overtime? We should be working less and being taxed less. But they want to use your money to move people from all over the earth here, demoralize the police. They want to give you nothing back as a taxpayer, and they're taking about half your earnings. And the other half that they're not taking, they're losing in inflation. I'm just going to enjoy life these next few years because I guess I'm wasting my breath here. God help the world. This guy is charged in shooting at Newton pro-Israeli. Man charged in shooting at Newton pro-Israel rally appears in court. Okay, this is actually live footage right now from Boston, NBC. A peaceful protest rally turned violent in Newton, Massachusetts, Thursday. A man was shot after charging at a pro-Israeli demonstrators at the intersection of Washington and Harvard Streets. The Middlesex County District Attorney's Office said the alleged shooter is expected to face a judge Friday. Cell phone video shows a man yelling at a group of pro-Israeli demonstrators who were peacefully protesting across the street from him. That man, who's not a part of the protest, is seen crossing the street and tackling one of the demonstrators. Investigators said that's when the demonstrator, identified as 47-year-old Scott Hayes of Framingham, allegedly shot the man who tackled him. Hayes was arrested and charged with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. The unidentified man who was shot was brought to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. I really, it's just crazy what's going on. So I'm pretty sure if that guy was Muslim and it was the other way around, they would have called it a terrorist attack. That's just my opinion. Armageddon has moved up a step closer. We have some new rhetoric coming out from Putin. The old Ruski said, NATO will be in the war if U.S. or allies lets Ukraine fire long-range missiles at Russia. Now, keep in mind, our government has provided billions of dollars to the Ukraine, weapons and everything. There are certain types of weapons that could create catastrophic damage inside Moscow and other parts of Russia. Putin has made a red line. He says, if you fire one of those American-made missiles, consider you guys and your Western allies in Europe a part of this conflict. We have never been closer to World War III ever than right now. If you have children that are 40 years or younger, God protect them with what might be coming. And I really don't think it matters who sits in the Oval Office. 3 U.S. citizens sentenced to death in Congo over role in a failed coup. They are among 37 defendants sentenced for their role in a failed coup in May. Armed men briefly occupied an office of the presidency in the capital, Kinshasa, on May 19 before their leader, U.S.-based Congolese politician Christian Malanga, was killed by security forces. All 3 were found guilty of criminal conspiracy, terrorism, and other charges and sentenced to death in a rural read on live TV. The Americans are among some 50, including U.S., British, Canadian, Belgian, and Congolese citizens standing trial following the failed coup. I beg you to intervene, blah, blah, blah. So basically, don't get involved in a coup unless you know you're going to win. It's a good way to end up dead and executed and hung, and like the worst types of deaths. I forgot to cover this story a few days ago, but mysterious UFO crossing the sky over New York City sparks talk of aliens, but there's an explanation. A mysterious orb of light with a sprawling, glowing tail was spotted soaring across the Big Apple skies early Tuesday morning this week. Conspiracists were right, and the strange object was, in fact, a spaceship, but not the kind with little green men inside. It was actually a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket seen flying over New York City. And they do look like, UFOs. So they probably were, a lot of these UFO sightings, because I believe it's demonic interdimensional that we're actually against and not aliens, were probably them creating this technology 20, 30 years ago. And this is what it looked like, So, yeah, it wasn't a UFO. Alleged drunk driver accused of killing NHL star Johnny Gaudreau. His brother breaks down in court as he's denied bail. So, the Iraq War veteran accused of killing Columbus Blue Jacket star Johnny Gaudreau and his younger brother in a drunk driving accident last month broke down in tears when he was denied bail Friday morning. Honest to God, at this point, they should make it, if you drive drunk and you're above the legal limit, the first time you do it, you lose your license for 6 months. The second time, you lose your license completely. Too many people are dying around the world, and especially here in the United States of America. I can't tell you how many people I personally have lost as a result of drunk driving. Please, if you're in law enforcement, don't let them get off the hook. If they give you a gold card, you're saving their life when you throw them in jail. And you're probably saving their family and someone else's family that has nothing to do with this person's decision to drink and drive from a life full of pain and sorrow. It's just unacceptable, especially with Uber. Like, they need to really, really increase the penalties for drunk driving. It's not a joke. It destroys lives. North Dakota judge rules state's abortion ban unconstitutional. A North Dakota judge struck down the state's abortion ban, one of the strictest in the U.S., Thursday, ruling the residents have a fundamental right to choose abortion before the fetus is viable. Okay, for all the people that are scared that Trump took away the rights, the states have a right to decide now, which would be nice, because maybe there's some states that people don't want to agree with that, and you could travel to a state that supports it and do what you got to do. And then wait for God on the other side. When that baby's waiting for you on the day of judgment, you're going to have to face that baby in front of God, especially the ones that are a few months past. I believe the soul enters the womb 40 days after conception. It's the general opinion of most Muslims, by the way. Magnitude 4.7 earthquake rocks parts of Southern California. I spoke to my boy Paulo in Malibu. Paulo, I'm glad you're okay. Please be vigilant. That scares the hell out of me. New York police commissioner resigns amid corruption probe. I'm pretty sure the mayor is right behind him. This clown-ass mayor who's danced more than done work, who's contradicted himself by making New York a sanctuary city, inviting all these illegals to come, providing for them, booking up the hotel rooms, making the streets disgusting and dangerous. $5 billion of New Yorkers' money, wants to put in a congestion pricing toll with that cunt in upstate New York, Governor Hochul, who just said she has skin cancer, and I got to tell you, I don't feel bad for her at all. And they've destroyed the city, and now they want to suck our blood to pay for all this chaos that they invited. I hope he goes down. You want to know the truth? I hope he goes down. I really do. I really, really do. Just like the other ones. But they never end up in jail. All the corruption gets caught. They never end up in jail. They never end up in jail. You know? Ever. Make sure you follow my Instagram, folks, at BEKLoverNYC, and my Twitter/X account. It's so fucking annoying. Elon, you should have just left the name as Twitter, bro. Because everyone's still saying Twitter, but really it's X, but X formerly known as Twitter. I'm fucking tired of it. I really am. This is for all you alien gurus and psychos. Radar detects invisible space bubbles over pyramids of Giza with power to impact satellites. A high-tech radar has detected invisible space bubbles over the Great Pyramids of Giza, providing clues to scientists who hope to prevent future satellite interruptions by this mysterious phenomenon. Researchers in China published their findings last month after observing the mysterious floating structures with a breadth as far as 9,500 kilometers. Called equatorial plasma bubbles, IFL science describes them as pockets of superheated gas at low altitudes in regions near the equator, such as Egypt, calling it a form of space weather. They emerge when there is suddenly a loss of charged particles in a layer of the sky called the ionosphere. Well, maybe they're just playing too many games with the ionosphere, like the HARP project. Take a look at that, guys. These bubbles should be treated as an important space weather phenomenon, according to a report from the Chinese Academy of Sciences. Let's see what else is cracking today. This internet's kind of acting a little weird today, man. Oh no, my computers are down. I guess they didn't like that. Oldest map of the world on nearly 3,000-year-old Babylonian tablet deciphered to reveal surprisingly familiar story. The oldest map of the world on a Babylonian clay tablet was deciphered over multiple centuries to reveal a surprisingly familiar story, and according to a recent video published by the British Museum. The cuneiform tablet from the 6th century BC shows an aerial view map of Mesopotamia, roughly modern-day Iraq, and what the Babylonians believed lay beyond the known world at the time. The ancient artifact discovered in the Middle East was acquired by the British Museum in 1882. I'm sure it was acquired, not because of colonization and stuff. I'm sure they earned that priceless artifact. The tablet has several paragraphs of the cuneiform on its backside and above the map diagram describing the creation of the earth and what its writer believed existed beyond it. The map shows Mesopotamia surrounded by a double ring, which the ancient scribe labeled the Bitter River, a river that created the borders around the Babylonians' known world. Inside the Bitter River, small circles and rectangles represent different cities and tribes in Mesopotamia, including Babylon, and another rectangle represents the Euphrates River. You have encapsulated in this circular diagram the whole of known world in which people lived, flourished, and died. British Museum curator and cuneiform expert Dr. Irving Finkel said in the video, however, there's more to this map than that. When it comes to operating beyond the limits of the known world into the world of imagination, the tablet is indispensable. The Babylonian scribe also mapped out what they believed existed outside their world, including mythical creatures and lands, as well as the reference to a well-known story today, essentially the Babylonian version of the biblical story of Noah's Ark. Without fail, every single ancient civilization has the story of the Great Flood. This 3,000-year-old Babylonian tablet has been translated and proves the story of Noah of the ark. May peace and blessings be upon him. The ancient Babylonians believed the remnants of the giant ark built in 1800 BC by their version of Noah named Utnapishtim, as the instruction of God lay beyond the Bitter River on the backside of the mountain, the same mountain that Noah's ark crashed on. That's quite a meaty thing, quite an interesting thing to think about, because it shows that the story was the same, and of course, that one led to the other. And all praise and glory due to God, who sent his messengers and prophets throughout the earth. Peace and blessings be upon Adam and Abraham and Noah of the ark and Moses and John the Baptist and Joseph and the Virgin Mary and Jesus Christ, and for me, the Prophet Muhammad. Tech billionaire Jared Isaacman steps out in space for the first ever private spacewalk after traveling farther than any man has gone in 50 years. Tech billionaire Jared Isaacman became the first ever civilian to embark on a spacewalk early Thursday after already traveling the farthest from Earth a human being has gone since the Apollo moon missions. Footage of the daring stunt showed Isaacman, 41, popping out of SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule on a tether as he came face to face with the dark vacuum of the space just before 7 a.m. So basically, billionaires have done everything there is to do on Earth, and now they can start doing stuff in space because the rest of us can't even get a vacation once a year. And this asshole is going up into space to flaunt how much money he has at the age of 41. Nothing wrong with that. I wish him success. I hope he's also spending some money down on Earth to help people that are starving, lost everything that had to conflict, instead of just taking wild adrenaline rushes because he's fucking bored and done everything you can do already by the age of 41. Just a thought. Shannon Sharpe comes clean about viral Instagram sex. Disappointed in myself. I really don't think it was an accident with Shannon Sharpe. I really don't care to spend too much time on his fucking disgusting behavior and further degeneration of our people and our society here in America. Tupac and Biggie murders were domino effects, and Diddy's definitely guilty. Eminem taking shots at Puff Daddy, the fallen, disgraced legend of hip-hop, who is no longer a legend. He's now a horror story. And where is Diddy, man? Where is Diddy? Airplane crashes on the 7th hole of a Colorado golf course within 30 feet of golfers. They survived. Here's the picture of the plane turned upside down. Looks like a little Cessna plane. And that is very important that they survived. Trump declared that there won't be a third debate with Kamala Harris after campaign releases memo touting gains in target states. I don't blame him because he's just giving her a chance to make him look stupid in many ways. And he doesn't even need to debate her because I haven't seen a Kamala Harris flag anywhere in New York City. And this is the most liberal city in the world. When I tell you I have not seen a Kamala Harris flag anywhere, I have seen many Trump flags in New York itself. Crazy. The UN says 6 staff were killed in an Israeli strike on a Gaza school September 12th. Unacceptable. And that's basically what's going on. Banksy's famous girl with balloons stolen from a London gallery. Larry Frazier, 47, and James Love, 53, are accused of snatching the incognito artist's famous stencil mural, valued at roughly $355,000 from the Grove Gallery on Sunday night. The Metropolitan Police surveillance video captured one of the alleged perps smashing down the gallery's front door. Police said they since recovered the stolen work, but didn't elaborate further on how or where they did to track it down. That's that famous picture where the girl's releasing the balloon. Very famous drawing. And that's about it, folks. It's Friday the 13th. I'm not superstitious. Only God has all power. And make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of your families. And, you know, just know that no matter what, there's some things we just don't have control over. I know it's easy to fall into despair. I know that you may be going through a hard time. Don't think that I don't, folks, just because I look all happy on social media. We all have struggles. We all have issues. With that said, I want to thank you for being my supporters. Make sure you check out that episode of the Danny Jones podcast. You're going to love it, and it's very controversial. This is your boy, Beck Lover, signing off on another episode of Interesting Times on the Beck Lover podcast, where you might just learn a thing or two about life. I'll see you on Monday, friends. Make sure you check out the IG and the Twitter because I'm always posting new content. Till the next time, this is Beck Lover.